All right, here we go.
This is iPhone 13.
One iPhone.
And iPhone 13 mini.
And two.
This is iPhone 13 Pro.
Three.
An iPhone 13 Pro Max.
Four. But also
Apple Watch Series 7.
And
this is the all-new iPad mini.
Yes, on Tuesday, Apple streamed a pretty jam-packed infomercial. I mean, virtual fall event. And it touted all its new iPhones and watches as the usual.
Legendary, spectacular, incredible, breathtaking. These are the best iPhones we've ever created.
Now, of course, these new iPhone 13 models are the best iPhones since last year's iPhones, which they look almost exactly like. But that doesn't mean there aren't some significant camera, screen, and battery upgrades. Like last year, this was all virtual, so I didn't get to check out the actual products after the event. Look, a new iPhone. It's just like the old iPhone. It's very exciting. But I do have some thoughts on everything. Let's break it down. All of the phones basically have the same design as last year's iPhone 12, except for one thing. The notch is slightly smaller.
The most secure facial authentication in a smartphone fits into a space that's 20% smaller.
Oh, and different colors. They all have new A15 Bionic chips, which are of course faster than last year's chips. And good for things like gaming and augmented reality. As Apple says,
there's nothing in the world like this chip.
Really? Nothing? And yes, all these phones connect to 5G cellular networks, which, let me tell you, I rarely use on my current iPhone 12. So what's actually different between these four new phones? Mostly price, screens, and camera features. Let's run down the models from lowest cost to highest. Number 1, the iPhone 13 mini, starting at $699. The mini, like last year's mini, has a 5.4-inch screen. It also has two new cameras. The first is a new wide 12-megapixel camera, which Apple says allows in 47% more light. The ultra-wide camera, Apple says, provides more detail in dark areas with less noise. It and all the other new iPhones have a new cinematic video mode. This is similar to portrait mode for photos, but it blurs elements in the background or foreground as you're shooting. It does this automatically, or you can manually adjust. It looks really cool, but I've got to test it out to see how well it works. The biggest upgrade to the Mini? Apple says it has a bigger battery, which should provide 1.5 hours more battery life than last year's model. This is very welcome news, since last year's Mini struggled to get through the day. Number 2, the iPhone 13, starting at $799. This is an easy one. The iPhone 13 is actually the same as the Mini, except with a 6.1-inch screen, plus a bigger battery that promises 2.5 hours more battery life than last year's iPhone 12. That's it, $100 more for a bigger screen and longer battery life. Number 3, the iPhone 13 Pro, starting at $999. The iPhone Pro also has a 6.1-inch screen, but it's made from more premium materials than those regular iPhone 13 models. The biggest differences come in cameras and screens. This phone has a new
Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion.
So many marketing words, but the ProMotion part is new. It means the screen has up to 120 Hz refresh rate, which will make things like scrolling and gaming smoother. The camera improvements were the most interesting things announced today. The Pro models have 3 cameras, all with new sensors with improved noise reduction. The ultra-wide has a new autofocus system for brighter and sharper shots. It's also capable of a macro mode for really close-up, crisp shots. The wide camera will provide a massive improvement in low-light photos, Apple says. And the telephoto camera has a 3x optical zoom, making a total zoom range from the ultra-wide to the telephoto of 6x. Basically, lots of zoom. The Pro also gets a bigger battery, promising 1.5 hours longer than the iPhone 12 Pro. Number 4, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, starting at $1099. The Pro Max has the same design and components as that other Pro, but it steps it up with a bigger 6.7-inch ProMotion screen. It also has a bigger battery. Apple says it will last 2.5 hours longer than last year's Max, which is pretty insane since that phone already lasts a day and then some. And if all of that isn't enough for you, Apple will keep selling the iPhone 11, 2 iPhone 12 models, and the iPhone SE at reduced prices. Next, there's a new Apple Watch Series 7, which starts at $399. It has a 20% larger screen and a slightly new design with rounder and quote-unquote softer edges. But other than the size, there really isn't much new here. Oh wait, Apple is actually saying it is
the most durable Apple Watch we've ever built.
It also charges 33% faster. And fear not, Apple is still keeping around the Apple Watch SE and the Series 3. The Apple Watch Series 7 will launch later this fall. For lovers of small tablets, there's finally good news. A new iPad mini starting at $499. Its design is similar to the iPad Air and Pro iPads. The 8.3-inch screen stretches all the way to the edges. Don't worry, the fingerprint sensor now lives in the power button. It's got an A15 Bionic processor and new cameras too, plus support for the Apple Pencil 2, which is still sold separately. Apple also updated the regular iPad with an A13 Bionic processor, 64 gigabytes of storage, and a 12-megapixel front-facing camera for the same $329 starting price. So yeah, a lot of things. If you're unsure about which is best for you, or you're on the fence deciding between one or two of the models, we'll have full reviews in the next few weeks. I'm particularly excited about testing all those iPhone battery claims, and all those crazy camera tricks.